Hi, my name's Julia. I'm a member of Hope Community Church Middleton, and this is my story. I'm not from Leeds, as you can probably tell, though we have lived here for 19 years now, so I do think of it as home. My parents are Christians, and so we would go to church every Sunday. I had everything I needed as a child, and a lovely extended family, but my parents were quite strict with us. And although looking back I can see this was a good thing in many ways, at the time, especially in my early teens, I started to resent their restrictions on me and on what I could and couldn't do. As I got older, I started to push the boundaries more and more. I didn't want anything to do with God and wasn't interested in what the Bible said about him. I guess it boiled down to the fact that I didn't trust my parents or God to decide what was best for my life. I thought I knew best. I thought that having the freedom to make my own choices would make me happy. Actually, all I really wanted was the freedom to behave like my school friends, so that I could fit in with them and be one of the crowd. I couldn't see that I was really only swapping one set of rules for another. After several years of this, when I was nearly 15, I was challenged by some Christians to think about my desire for freedom and control over my life, and also to think about whether what my idea of God was like was true. I stopped to think about questions like, was I really making my own choices, or was I just doing what everyone else did and following their choices? If I was honest, in reality, I was just following other people's choices, as my desire for freedom was overridden by my desire to be liked and accepted. And was my rebellion against my parents and against Christianity making me happy? No, it really wasn't. It was hard work, and I often ended up feeling miserable. Also, would choosing to follow God mean giving up all my freedom? Even though this is what I had convinced myself was true, from looking at the Christians I knew, somehow this didn't seem to be true in their lives. They had a peace and a contentment I just didn't have. Ultimately, I needed to decide whether I was better off keeping control of my life myself, or if I could trust God enough to give up control of my life to him and to commit my life to following him. I also realised that my biggest problem in life wasn't my rebellion against my parents, although that obviously made life more stressful for everyone at home, but my rebellion against and rejection of God. My desire for control over my life left no room for God and made it impossible for me to have a relationship with him. But I realised that in Jesus, God was willing to come to us, to tell us and to show us that we can know him and that we can be reconciled to him. My rebellion against God and my selfishness in putting what I wanted above everything and everyone else meant there was no way I deserved to be loved and accepted by God. But the God I read about in the Bible was willing to give up his only son, to suffer the consequences and take the punishment for my selfishness and rebellion, enabling God to forgive me and bring me into his family. I decided that a God who was willing to do this for me, to take away my guilt and offer me an ongoing and eternal relationship with him based on his unconditional love for me, was worth committing my life to, as I knew I was getting far more than I could ever give in return. That was nearly 34 years ago now, and the longer I've been a Christian, the more I've come to realise that true freedom is found in loving and serving Jesus, and not in loving and serving myself. True freedom is not about doing what I want to do, but doing what Jesus wants me to do. Knowing Jesus frees me from my selfish desires and helps me to live as I was created to be. I was created not to live for myself, but for Jesus and other people. I got married to Duncan in 1995, and although we've been married for nearly 25 years now and have 3 grown-up children, I know that no one and nothing in the world can offer me the security that Jesus does. At times in life, such as when I suffered a miscarriage, when a close friend was killed in a road accident, when my mother-in-law was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, or even just in the difficulties of everyday life, when I've been afraid or overwhelmed and have no clue what to do for the best, I can trust Jesus. Deciding to commit my life to him and becoming part of God's family means I can trust the way he guides and directs me in life, because he is my loving Heavenly Father. He sees and knows what is best for me. I always see just a little bit of the picture of my life. He sees the whole big picture beyond what I can imagine and works out everything knowing what is best. And the great thing is that as he does this, I can tell and show other people what he is like and how amazing it is to know him. Thanks for listening to my story. If you'd like to listen to more, please click below.